You order beer. I don't know if it'll show up.
Yeah. Can I get a beer? It's going to take a while to get on the internet, Facebook.
Yeah, this isn't really plugged into the system.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going. Okay, yeah. What does that mean, Jay?
That means,
Okay,
we're going.
thank you for the notice.
No
All
problem.
right, we are
you were
on
talking
day
with
3
those
of the...
guys, so I
Wow.
have to...
Hi, Jay.
Hi.
Day 3, road trip. We continue. That's what road trips are all about, right? We're at El Moro in Durango, Colorado. This morning, Grand Junction. Today, El Moro, Durango, Colorado. Good to see you, Dave Woodruff.
Welcome. Yeah, great to have you get here.
Oh, my goodness. Thanks for having us. And we got actually a couple of great friends of mine. And Jason Lum, known you forever, man. I love you to death. Thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here,
Yeah,
Greg.
Dave Thibodeau, guess what? It's your anniversary.
It is.
Did you know that?
This is in my actual wedding anniversary.
That's right.
I did. Did I tell you that?
Actually, congratulations on both fronts. 20-year wedding anniversary, and then Scott Brewing Company, 25.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's all within a week.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, too. We've got a big show, and the CRA, Colorado Restaurant Association, will be joining us here shortly. Sonia Riggs went back home from Breckenridge, Colorado, but Devaney McNeil and Laura Shunk will be joining us here. So it's going to be a great night as we're going to talk food, we're going to talk about beverage, we're going to talk about community, and let's just start there. Durango, the community. First of all, could you give us a little background on yourself, Dave?
Oh, man, how much time you got?
We've got plenty of time. Give us the interesting bullet points.
Yeah, so originally from Missouri. I moved to Colorado after I graduated from college, went to Kansas State University, and then, gosh, that was 15 years ago. I decided to move to Durango. I loved it here. My cousins went to school at the Fort. I decided on a Tuesday I was going to move here, and I was here that Friday with all my stuff. Didn't know what I was going to do, so cut my teeth at Steamworks, worked my way up, and then started up this wonderful establishment about 7 years ago.
Well, those are all the bullet points, and we'll fill in the blanks as we go
Yeah,
along.
totally.
But
I got married, got a couple kids, all the more important stuff.
no big deal. Do you show up to your anniversaries on time?
You know what? When I remember them, yes.
Yes, that's good.
Hey, I will show up on time.
I know you
which is
will.
about now.
No, it is not. You stick around for a little bit. But that was a great point to go on to. You come into town, and then it was like, okay, I'm hooked. I stay. That's the community portion of it. Jay, that kind of sounds similar to your story as well.
Oh, yeah. Once you get to Durango, you pretty much want to hang around. This is a really great spot. And, you leave, you travel, you see other places, but usually you end up coming back.
Yeah.
It's one of those types of places.
And then Dave, hailing from Littleton, Colorado?
Wheat Ridge.
All right.
Close.
Kind of. But
Many moons ago.
and here you are.
Yeah, same like these guys said. Once you've been here, and you'll see it because there will be so many Texans here next year that live here with their second homes and their COVIDs.
It is changing a little bit, too, and we'll get into there.
Are we going to get into that?
We can get into whatever you guys want to get into. But what we do want to do is feature the community and Durango. I think it's a great place. Every time I come through, I'm getting to know Durango a little bit better. Just the nuances, the people, the stories, and that's where I really like to go with the stories. So here we are today. Let's do a little round robin about Durango. Just let's do 2 words. Describe Durango in 2 words.
Start with me, huh?
Yeah.
Great. I would say...
We need to give Dave time to think here. Go ahead, Dave.
You guys are going to take all of mine on the way.
I know, that's
Along
what
the
happens,
way.
right? You think of a good one.
Do the good ones first.
I would say hospitality and genuine.
Hospitality and genuine. I like that. Jay?
I'd say active and sunshine.
Active and sunshine.
I'd say community
Yeah.
and bears.
Communities and bears. Really?
Oh, yeah. That's these guys.
It's true.
Only
You've
in the fall.
never been in a town with so many bears.
Lots of bears.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the interesting things that we said pre-show, or you said pre-show to me, David, was more restaurants per capita than San Francisco. That's a very interesting cliff note.
Yeah, it's I think it's a good feather in the cap for Durango. We have such a vibrant culinary community in Durango, and I would argue to say that it's the fabric of our community. Like people love to eat, and they love to celebrate community and communion and fellowship and being together. All those things that we had just described, except for bears, people like to do together, and in a scenario where you're celebrating that community. So I think it's a testament to are great independent producers. You know, you got Sky Brewing, you got Steamworks Brewing, you got all these great people that have great ideas and they execute really well. And I think that's a really good, like I said, feather in the cap for Durango. And granted, we're not the big metropolitan area that San Francisco is, but to have, you know, over 200 restaurants in a town of 17,000 people, I think says volumes for what we do and what we choose to celebrate.
It's interesting because a lot of areas demographically, food and beverage really is the makeup or the foundation of what do you have going on there. Durango's a really interesting place agriculturally. Wouldn't you agree with that, Jay?
Yeah, definitely.
People connecting. So, to me, it's very much more advanced than other communities because I feel like Durango's really connected with its food.
Yeah. I think along with that is it brings the quality up, you know, the locally produced stuff and, you know, how we go out to James Ranch and they're raising beef out there and with the processor right here at Sunnyside and, you know, and the quality of the restaurants, too, is amazing. I mean, for not only do we have a lot of per capita restaurants, but the quality of them is really hot. And, you know, I consider myself somewhat of a foodie, and that's one of the great things about Durango is, man, the food here is amazing. It's great.
200 restaurants?
And that includes, you know, all the little small eateries and coffee shops and whatnot. But, yeah, anybody that pulls, like, a permit for a FSC food service establishment, yeah, it's considered a restaurant. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about.
So what I like is the local sourcing. Obviously, the local stores, the purveyors, the farm, the ranches, the brewers, the distillers. Having a restaurant scene that's abundant, draw from that local community of purveyors. That's a pretty tight-knit thing as well right now because they all have to work in tandem.
Exactly right, and we're working in concert with a lot of different small farms. I mean, when the pandemic first hit in Durango, we were all meeting with these small producers. They're like, well, if restaurants aren't going to be open, what do we plant? How much do we need to plant? So there's a lot of conversations revolved around what are we going to do and how are we going to continue to celebrate community. And so obviously we've been able to reopen up, and some of these small producers are able to get stuff out of the ground and onto plates again, and it's been really good to see. I've never seen so many small producers and restaurants and farms in a community this small. I mean, you think about Windsong, you think about Twin Buttes, you think about Farms to Plate or Field to Plate. I mean, there's so many different small producers out there that are all doing super unique, fun stuff, and they're not all just producing a bunch of tomatoes. And everybody's got tomatoes. Everybody's doing something a little bit different, so it's great.
Yeah. I want as much as of you that I can get in the next 5
Well,
minutes.
I mean, that's the thing. And when I said community, it's it really is. And people do work in tandem and in harmony with each other. And they understand where a niche needs to be filled. And they also understand not really stepping on each other's toes and still fulfilling a need at the same time. And everybody kind of looks out for that. It's a criteria. If you're jumping into something in Durango, you're thinking about your brothers and sisters across the street and next door at the same time. And obviously there's a lot of entrepreneurial-minded folks here, and there's also a lot of driven people, and there's a lot of people that are really connected to their food and want to grow their food and raise their food and at least know where it comes from. And I think that's one of the things that really makes it so special, and it kind of keeps the whole. It just kind of keeps that whole cycle going, and that's what's so great is that even though there's as many restaurants per capita as there is in San Francisco, the beauty of it here is that they're not really all directly competing with each other. They're all helping each other succeed.
Boom! Great point, and it blows my mind truly. So as we're talking about community and restaurants, one thing that I believe COVID did was it pulled back a major scab of basically the chain of distribution and how people get their food. I think Durango is a great example of that smaller community that goes direct and have been doing for the longest of time. I'm not so sure that disruption really rippled through Durango because of that. But when you go into larger metropolitan cities with the same ethos in their restaurant of, sustainability and cross-utilization of ingredients and being able to use great products, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, I used to get that from such and such distributor, and they would drop that off with my toilet paper, and things just got the broken chain of command and being able to go direct to farm. A lot of farms and ranches have been able to really flourish by, and we're trying to get away from that pivoting word or adjusting to that direct business. And how do you do that? And a lot of it has to do with building partnerships and relationships directly with the farms and ranches. Anybody can jump on that one.
I mean, we were fortunate enough that, we had some early stakeholder meetings with some of these local producers and farms, and there's a lot of really good people. Rachel Landis comes to mind. I don't know if anybody here knows Rachel, but she's all about celebrating locally produced food. And she was a great advocate and a great resource to be able to have in some of those stakeholder meetings to figure out, who's producing what, and how are we going to make sure that, there's a central, not necessarily chain of command, but a central resource that somebody can go to and be like, hey, we're this is what we're thinking about doing. So everybody, all these farms are working in concert and working collaboratively to make sure that we were still able to get, kind of what we needed. Unfortunately,
Connect the dots.
Connect the dots.
Keep
Totally.
them connected.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Jay, you take it to a whole new level. Jason Lum, I really admire the Lazy J. And what you're trying to do is provide food for your lovely family. You got a great family, and you're growing year after year after year your farm. And just talk about your farm just a bit, and how you're able to more and more be self-sufficient with your food on a yearly basis.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of work.
Yes,
first off,
the payoffs there, though.
Oh, it's great. No, I mean that's the thing is like when something like this happens, it kind of reaffirms your life choices a little bit because you do produce your own food. We have a big garden every year. We've been raising sheep now for 5 years. I'm actually in the process of building a new barn, and so I've acquired some adjacent property for more pasture. We love the lifestyle, even though it is a lot of work because I still maintain my regular job and try to do this on the side. But being able to go outside and cut some lettuce or greens for dinner and fresh herbs and pull stuff out of the ground almost on a daily basis throughout the summer is great. Year after year I try to do something to keep that going and improve it, whether it be pasture, seeding, fencing, adding animals. We're going to start raising pigs here soon. We just try to grow every year, and
no pun intended.
Yeah. But more contagious than COVID is that mindset of building and food and sourcing. And listen, you could draw from many great places, farm stands and other people that are doing great ranching, and go up to James Ranch and get some goodies. But you've decided I can do that there.
Well, we do both. We also shop at all the local places for the stuff that we don't grow. And support all the local.
Let's pause right there. I know you have to jump. I want to congratulate
I'm still doing
you.
Okay for a few minutes.
A couple minutes, but I do want to switch back to Ska Brewing Company and how much ska means to this community. I mean, truly just a juggernaut in its own right, and I admire everything you do. I think first of all, the product is killer. The branding is top notch, and just the community that you built within ska. I'm proud to wear a ska hat. I truly am.
I appreciate that.
And you've built you and your team have built such a great community of people that to me it's such a right fit in Durango. I just couldn't imagine it anywhere else. First of all, thank you for that. But what does that take as you go along and you've navigated through those 25 years to be able to stay true to the ethos and the thoughts that you've always wanted in a quality brand?
I think, earlier when we were talking about how people are looking out for each other, and Jason said it raises it at the same time with that many purveyors of whatever it might be, that it helps raise the bar. And everybody has to do better and look out for each other more. And what we haven't got to is maybe how Dave knows these figures about San Francisco. He's also, I think, the president of the Durango chapter of the Colorado Restaurant Association,
Yep.
and then also involved with Steamworks and Birds to some extent. And I don't know how the restaurant group is set up, but El Moro here and Steamworks Brewing who's just 1 year younger than us, so they're celebrating their 24th anniversary right now. And Birds on North Main is all part of the same restaurant group, and that's a good example. Is Carver's was already here, and Durango Brewing was already here, and when we came in, everybody was willing. In fact, our very first account was Carver's, and then a year after we opened, Steamworks came in, and I remember helping them unload equipment out of the back of a semi, right on 2nd Avenue before they even opened up, and it's been great because we've pushed each other the whole time. But at the same time, we've done some really cool things, like the when you're talking about community and supporting and being a part of it. Naturally, we all had that mindset, like, wow, if these people are going to support us and our business, we need to do what we can to support them, the people that live here and work and play here. And so we started what we call the Durango Bootlegger Society, and that was kind of a philanthropic umbrella organization of the local brewers. And it was just to kind of share the burden that comes along with, however, I think there's over 300 nonprofits in the county or something. It's something insane, but more than even the restaurants. But still find a way to continue to give back. And so we did it together. And at the same time, you can't be that close with another company, another brewery in the same industry, and let one run away with quality while you dink around with something mediocre. You have to stay in tune and lockstep, or the town will pass you by, or the industry will pass you by. So it kind of really all ties together. And like when I was talking about a cycle, I would almost say it ends up being more synergistic at the same time, because once you realize the benefits of working with your neighbors, they're compounding, and you working with somebody that you may have or somebody else might look at as competition actually works to everybody's benefiting, including your own, and it increases the business overall. And that's
it's the best 3 minutes of airtime I've ever.
I was practicing that one. So.
I mean, how do you follow that? But I'd love for you to try.
Yeah, that's a really tough one to follow. But I would absolutely play into that. Something that really struck with me is, how do you make the community better through what you do, and part of that is through your philanthropic endeavors. But to me, that's what hospitality is. Too often, I think we have this antiquated view of what hospitality truly is. We think of it as this transactional piece, like you give me money, I give you food. That's when hospitality can take place, and I think that's an antiquated view. I don't like the way that it's just only if there's some transaction. For me, it's hospitality is not only this guest engagement, but it's also how we engage our coworkers, but also how we engage our community. It's all encompassing. Now, hospitality to me is a vocation. It's an embodiment of who you are as an individual and as a business. I think Dave can be a testament to that in and of itself. He is hospitality. Jason Lum is hospitality. We may do different things and how we get there, but it's all hospitality. It's all about how we interact and engage each other.
You guys are freaking me out. I mean, because normally I'd be like, I'm calling BS, but I know, I feel it. I'm moving down here. That's it. I'm coming down here. Jay, will you do that? Yes.
Full.
It's time to go.
Sorry, we're full.
Yeah, you're done. Sorry, we're full. You don't have any other room. Well, I was hoping.
No.
We just sold the last house.
That's right. I was hoping that I could stay with you and the missus.
Yeah, on the anniversary night. It's going to be great.
Come on over.
Yeah, starting tonight.
That's right. Okay. It's that time.
How am I doing? Doing all right?
It's that time. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll finish my beer. I'm gonna go get Jason his beer that I destroyed.
It's okay.
Drinking Pilsner from Crooked Stave out of Denver, which is tasting mighty delicious.
I'll tell you what.
And I got carried away and just dumped some of mine into Jason's, thinking I was helping. But
and now they're both deadly.
As I was doing it,
it's like different day and age.
Times have changed.
Times have changed. Right.
But I appreciate the hospitality.
Yes. Usually you guys
See?
A kiss between friends would have been no problem last year. Now you can't even share a beer.
No.
I'll tell you. Okay, so what we need to do is pause. You need to run around and check
I'm gonna
real
go
quick.
check on the homies,
Got
make sure
about
everything's
3
good.
minutes for that. I do need to do this and tell you about why are we out. It's our fall road trip, and why we're doing this is to gather sourcing for a delicious dinner series that we're going to have starting next Monday. Brian Freeman, he's not here with us. Brian will be catching back up with us next week for the dinner series. But 5 days in a row, they're all at Logan Street. It's the former Governor's Park. You've been there and had a beer or two.
I used
It's a
to live
beautiful
right there.
property.
Yep.
And they also have Carboy Winery attached to it. We've got a fully appointed, spacious back patio that we're building an outdoor kitchen. So alfresco dining, and you can join us. FallDinnerSeries.com. I encourage you to do that. At FallDinnerSeries.com is what you'll see as the lineup. Monday, you'll be looking forward to Chef Corey Baker from Izakaya and Sushi Den. I mean, you can go down the list. Corey's like an industry darling. Join us for that. Kyle Mendenhall from the Big Red F group. He'll be joining us on Tuesday. That dinner's almost sold out. Kyle's got a delicious menu. FallDinnerSeries.com. You'll be able to see all of these. Our center point, Wednesday, will be Chef Alex Seidel. Probably not even everybody knows who Alex is.
Who is he?
Fruition and Fruition Farms, man. Mercantile, that's all good stuff. Colorado favorites right there. And then on Thursday, you'll be able to enjoy Scott Hiberneth from the Angelos group. And I grew up with Angelos, a little-known secret. Grace Lavio from the Lavio family. I was named after Grace. Her name was Gregoria. So that's where Greg came from. On Friday night, it's Chef Rebecca Weitzman, and she's our home player. That's her home turf from Logan Street. Chef Rebecca Weitzman, the whole series is laid out and ready to go for you. The best of the best of breweries and distilleries. You can join us along with Carboy Winery. We're bringing back a lot of good goodies that we're sourcing in Colorado. That's what the road trip is for. Boulder, get on that. Kyle Mendenhall, you can't get his food anywhere else. You can get it next week at our Fall Dinner Series. Thank you. From El Moro in Durango, we'll take a timeout. We'll come right back. Dave, thank you.
Thank you,
guys.
guys.
Stick around. We'll be right back. The Modern Eater Show continues. I love the laugh.
Like right now?
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, it's Kyle Mendenhall. I'm talking with my good friends from the Modern Eaters Show. Keep supporting them. There's a lot of good stuff happening.
We started Meridiem Spirits because we love the way that spirits and cocktails can bring people together to socialize, to bond, to have conversations. Well, right now we've got some big conversations to have. Coupe Vodka and Coupe Gin are available at liquor stores across the metro area, but if you can't find us or would like to have us behind your bar or at your restaurant, send us an email, info@meridiemspirits.com. We know things are a little different these days, but think of us the next time you're planning a virtual happy hour or a socially distant picnic. And keep an eye on our social media, Coupe by Meridiem, for all the latest and greatest.
Hey, Dave Thibodeau here. Hey, friends of the Modern Eater. This is Dave Thibodeau from Ska Brewing and Peach Street Distillers. I wanted to let you know that our new brew distillery is up and running again in Boulder. And we've got a great selection of Ska beers, nearly 30 on tap. We've also got all of our Peach Street spirits available, a great mixology program that we brought down from the Western Slope in Palisade. We're open limited hours, Wednesday through Friday from 3 to 10. And then we open up earlier at 10 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday and get some brunch action rolling. We have 2 great patios. Socially distant seating is available. And you can always check for more information at scastreet.com and hope we become your new favorite neighborhood spot. And I'd like to meet you there in the not too distant future for a beer or a drink soon. So take care, be healthy, and stay strong. And I'll talk to you later.
Hi guys, it's Cody Ann from Aspen Baking Company. We specialize in fresh, preservative-free, amazing bread. But with all the food news, go right here to the Modern Eater.
Hey, Zach Ryder here, Colorado Mills Sunflower Products out of Lamar, Colorado. Your only local source, grown from a local crop to produce a local oil for local chefs. You can find it at Shamrock Foods, What Chefs Want, Seattle Fish Company. Let me try it one more time, then we'll see. Hey, restaurants, we're glad you're reopening. From Colorado Mills Sunflower Oil, we'll see you soon.
First, we partner with the best farmers in the world, and then we tell them, we will take it all. Process whole spices daily, blend custom spices to order, keep it fresh, safe, and flavorful, all so that you can get back to doing what you do best, So whether you're a restaurant, a food manufacturer, or an at-home cook, be sure to visit The Spice Guy at www.thespiceguyco.com.
Okay, back at it, and from El Moro, and we've kind of done a few of the rounds. Last time we were here, or close by, we were at Eolis. I really enjoyed that dinner. Back to the show in just a minute from Durango. Would you call this downtown? Yeah, downtown.
We're in the heart of downtown.
We're in the heart of downtown. I'll tell you about Jeff Rourke and A-Plus Beverage Solutions because he's the most trusted man in the business. What does he do? Custom installs. You've got to have great tap lines. You really do, because the brewer wants the beer to taste like the brewer intended it to taste. That's just the bottom line. If you're pouring inefficient beer, what are you doing, Jay?
You're pouring your money down the drain.
Don't pour your money down the drain. His name's Jay, too.
Yeah, got it.
I was just looking at you. But we'll do it again. If you're pouring inefficient beer, what are you doing?
You're pouring your money down the drain.
Don't pour your money down the drain. Get a hold of Jeff Rourke and A-Plus Beverage Solutions. Here's the deal. You need maintenance, too. Someone may have come in and installed your lines and didn't do them great. Your glycol needs to be adjusted. The temperature's off. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, can and do go wrong with tap systems. Tap systems, have you ever had some pain in the ass tap systems, Dave?
Most of them, yes.
Most of them. And that's why you need the professionals to come in. Jeff Rourke and A-Plus Beverage Solutions. He's the man I trust. You can trust him, too. Here's the phone number, 720-272-3809. You need that? Did you write that down, Dave?
Say it one more time.
720-272-3809. That's my friend and yours. His name's Jeff Rourke at A-Plus Beverage Solutions. Back to the show. El Moro. The name. What is the name?
It stands for the Moro. No, it actually gets supposed to laugh there.
That was good. I was like, because I
joke. Come on. Yeah. So basically, the premise that we understand it is that there's a castle in Havana, Cuba called the El Moro Castle. I guess near El Raton, there's a rock formation that they named El Moro, and we just think that name just progressed westward. And they just named it after that. So that's the story, and we're sticking to it.
And here it is. So Dave Woodruff here, Jason Loam, Dave Thibodeau.
Yeah, I was gonna. Well, I was
good?
just coming. I was just coming to say goodbye,
Okay.
and I was gonna just mention. I didn't realize you were still like.
Oh, we're flying.
Filming.
Yeah, we're going.
But I was gonna say you should ask Dave about the history of this place.
That's where we're going right now.
So
Do it.
Perfect.
Let's go.
Perfect.
I know you were supposed to the whole evening, and it would have. You'd be here much later if this wasn't a day of reckoning for you. And my co-host, Dave Thibodeau, asked the question.
You want me to ask the question now?
Yeah, that you just asked.
Oh well, I was
An
just
official capacity.
Well, there's
okay.
It's a pretty.
What's the
okay, so Main Street, and within the next couple blocks up, there is a very colorful history, and it's obviously it's a mining town. It's an immigrant town. There's a lot of really crazy stories, and we do have a fantastic historian in town that actually has chronicled a lot of this. There's a lot of cool books and stuff available, but this particular building, and I think with what these guys have done with it, kind of ties into the history and the story. And
this was a brothel. Please tell me.
It was, so you can actually look right behind you. This was the original El Moro Saloon back at the turn of the century. So that's where the name came from, and I should have prefaced that earlier. But
is this the same gauge that we're looking down right here?
If you actually, it's from the back looking forward. So if you're in the rear of the restaurant, you can see the backwards numbers on the front of the building. That's if you're looking where the kitchen comes out, you're looking towards the front.
Is that the original bar?
I wish. No. We wanted to put the bar on the same side of the room as it was before to pay homage to the history of the
1906.
Yep.
If these walls could talk.
So, and that's a funny thing. We actually peeled back 8 inches of wall treatments to get back to the original brick.
What were some of those wall treatments?
Oh my God!
Just the gaudiest stuff.
Awful. Yeah, it was pretty bad stuff. There's
Tile.
Pretty cool
hey, this
stuff.
wall was carpeted at one point.
It's crazy what people do.
Yeah.
Like, old stuff is cool.
And then
like,
you peel it all back. It's like,
why did
look
we
at
put
these
so many
floors.
layers of ruin over it?
Yeah, they actually plastered all of these brick walls before they put that first wall treatment on. So you can tell. There's a header back here, a wooden header, and you can't tell from here where we're sitting. But they actually, the builders actually used pneumatic chisels to get that off, and then they hand with creosote bricks, the same thing you use on your flat top. They creosote bricked and sanded every inch of wall, 84 feet of wall from 14 feet to the bottom, top to bottom, to get back to the original brick.
What's with this pulley system? I mean, those aren't original. Obviously,
no,
they're
not
cool.
Original, but those, once again, we're trying to pay homage to the original. And so, yeah, it's operated off of one motor, and it's just a pulley system that the fans operate. And our chef, Sean Clark, came up with the idea of using cheese graters as sconces.
That is so cool.
So, yeah, it's just there's all these little elements. We built all these mason jar lights to, preservation methods that were back in the turn of the century. We actually found, if you look at the chandelier, that's a door. Those doors, when we took out that wall that delineates our kitchen and front of house, those doors were built into the wall and then just drywalled over. So we took those doors out, painted them, and then made them into chandeliers.
What a great property.
Yeah, look how cool it. Like, now that you see that stuff, you're like, wow, cheese graters, doors, this is awesome.
Very cool.
Let's turn to the bar program, because that bar is really, really impressive.
And get into it.
Yeah,
I am going to take off, but get into the whole
do it.
Marshal and sheriff shooting each other in here, and all the crazy
stuff. You can
stuff.
turn my camera around onto the bar while we talk about it. You don't. My camera right there.
Take your headset there, Dave.
Oh, you're gonna walk back
Well, I have
by
a
the
camera
bar.
on the bar when they're making.
Thank you
drinks.
guys for having me.
You're gonna head over here. Okay, cool. Let's get into that. Do you mind? Let's talk about this.
No, of course not. Yeah, so Dave segued right into it. So
no, don't do all that. Just take that. That's right. You guys.
see you, Dave.
Bye,
Yeah,
Dave.
good to see you, buddy.
Really appreciate you stopping by, Dave.
Part your face.
Good to see you. There he is, exiting the building.
Dave has left the building.
Dave's not home, man.
Dave's not home,
He's
man.
not home anymore. Okay, so where do you begin with a bar program? First of all, you've got a great bar, illustrious space. Did you want to start with the wine program? Did you want to start with the spirits forward?
So, I mean, to be honest, kind of started at the genesis of all this. When we came up with the it was our CEO Chris Euler, Brian McCarron, our director of marketing, and Sean Clark, our chef. We were kind of figuring out what do we want to do? What's our concept? In a town of 200 restaurants, you got to find a niche. You got to find something that's not going to be done by everybody else. Like, how do you find something that's going to be unique and execute it well? So,
well, that was a big question.
It is, and so we got to start off
Yeah,
somewhere.
what is that?
So this is the jumping off point.
We're going to do a Morrow.
Yeah.
How about bitters? We'll just start with bitters program.
So we went to the Animist Historical Society, and we're like, what can you tell us about the history of 945 Maine? And so she was gone for like 20 minutes, and then she came
I would
back.
love if you just brought this in a little
yeah.
closer, because I really want to hear everything you say.
Yeah.
Thank
How
you.
was that?
Oh, my goodness.
Man,
It's
so
night
much
and
better.
day. It is. Thank you.
So the lady was gone for like 20 minutes, and then she came back, and she's like, guys, you paid her. And she told us all about the history of the original El Moro Saloon. The sheriff was, like Dave said, shot and killed by the town marshal here in El Moro in January of 1906. So that kind of gave us a starting point of, like, what do we want our cuisine to be? What do we want our bar program to be? And we kind of emulated, like, what was going on at the turn of the century? What were the food preservation techniques? What were people eating? What were people drinking? So we took a lot of... Pre-Prohibition, exactly right. Okay. So yeah, obviously the old-fashioned, we did...
Did they muddle back then? It went from muddling... I'm curious. I mean, I don't know that you know the history of old-fashions.
Well, so there's two different kinds of old-fashioned,
Yeah.
a new old-fashioned or an old-fashioned.
Right.
So, I mean...
But what's the new one, the old one, then?
So we do a hybridized version of... So we muddle an orange in there, no cherry.
You do?
And so but dirty dump it. We don't put the...
Get some
orange.
of those later.
Yeah.
A couple of them.
But we don't do the orange inside. We just, you want the flavor profiles coming out with them.
Do you express the zest or even?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
So, and finished product, we'll express an orange zest over the top and send it. So yeah, a lot of those cocktails. There's a cocktail called Coffin Varnish. That was
Coffin Varnish.
Coffin Varnish back in the day.
Okay.
And that's still on our cocktail menu 7 years later.
Very
it's
raw
a billionaire
distillate,
riff.
I would think.
I'm sure there was a lot in there to get rid of whatever
What's
that
its
was
base
tasting
spirit? Do you know?
I couldn't tell you.
Rocket fuel.
We just, the ethyl alcohol.
What's the name of that drink again?
Coffin Varnish.
I got to look into the history of that. Coffin Varnish.
Yeah. So we did a lot of our cocktail program based upon some of those older principles. Corpse retriever. We made it into a Bloody Mary. So we did a lot of those names, and we just reconfigured them to be a cocktail that fit our program. But honestly,
so old-fashioned, because you have to kind of have an old-fashioned.
You have to. Old-fashioned, Manhattan,
right?
sidecars. I mean, anything that was classic.
So you started cocktail bar.
Yeah, and
that's
I
what
mean,
you needed to
organically. So I'm a beer guy. I came from Steamworks, you know, so I'm a certified cicerone.
Uh-huh.
So like, beer is my first love, and then so learning how to do a bar program and a bar program that executes well, I had to learn, and I'm still learning over the next 7 years to be where it is today. I'm very fortunate to have a great, team back there that not only executes well, but they have a great palate, and they always come up with great cocktail ideas. And so when we change our cocktail menu twice a year, it's a whole, process that's engaging, and everybody's excited about it, and it's everybody's got some stake and some skin in the game.
Do you have a cocktail menu? We'll look at that.
Because of pandemic, everything's online, but I can get you a hard menu for sure.
I'm just curious, to look at. We can go through it together. So then, to beer or to wine? Because now you're getting into dining as well.
I know. So beer, because I wasn't a wine guy, and I'm still not as much of a wine guy. I was fortunate enough to have Sarah Moxham, now Hess, is now currently our wine buyer. But she's been here since day one, and so she's really helped cultivate that wine program to be something really great. She's really brought in some really fun, unique wines, it's in constant rotation. And so when you're doing stuff in constant rotation, it's hard to keep up with menus and getting people online to know about it, staff-wise and everything else. So we're fortunate enough that she's been here all 7 years and has really cultivated that wine program to be something great and that fits the food as well. But the beer program, initially, we had 125 different beers to choose from. And so I brought in stuff from Europe, from America. Any format wasn't off the table. So
you wanted to flex a little bit with the beer,
totally,
too.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
I was like, man, this is a great opportunity to showcase, what food and beer could be. And so our kegs, so we only do 5-gallon kegs in our draft cooler. So we don't have anything that's 15.5 gallon. So we get really fun, unique stuff. Sometimes I'll spend anywhere from $200 to $300 on a 5-gallon of beer just because it's unique and it's fun and it's different. People are like, well, you're charging $10 for 8 ounces of beer. And I'm like, but have you tried it? There's people tend to not blink when you give them a $20 6-ounce pour of wine. Right? You can, when you're
top shelf beer.
Yeah, exactly. You can have world-class wine for $20 a pour, but you can have also world-class beer for half that price for more volume. So I think it's just how you shift attitudes towards beer and wine. But yeah, it's been a great evolve from what I saw initially as a beer-centric restaurant to what it is now. It's not like we bought all those bottles, straight out of the chute. We built it over time. We've cultivated. Lucas, my assistant GM, he just left here at the beginning of August, but he helped cultivate that spirit selection to be something really awesome and unique.
And you can do some gateway stuff. Like there's a really cool brewery in Paonia, Chrysalis, is doing a lot of barrel-aged stuff.
Totally.
They are, that's a great gateway from one to the next, and I think
of course
those are cool, innovative things as well. Your bar, okay, here's a great segue. I'm noticing there are people sitting at the bar.
I know,
Where
right?
are we?
This is literally the first day that we've had people sit at the bar today.
Tell me more.
So we finally got clarification. The CRA.
You got green tape and.
I know, yeah. It's just all the things you have to do to
optics. Everything is optics right now.
Well, and you got to retrain the consumer and the guest how to interact.
Yes.
Their whole lives they've been doing things a certain way.
Yeah.
And now we got to retrain them how to do things a completely different way. And we got to retrain our employees. We got to retrain ourselves how to interact in the pandemic. So, the CRA got clarification from CDPHE about what bar seating was and classified as. So. Now that we know we have to be 6 feet from the nearest tap tower, 6 feet from the nearest service well, as long as we're maintaining that social distance, we can have people sit at the bar, which is great. As you know, when you have that bar, we don't have TVs. TVs can usually be a focal point. We didn't want that to be a focal point for us. When we get back to like what the original bar was back at the turn of the century, it was a place of community. It was a place of fellowship. It was a place of engagement. And so that's what we wanted that to continue to be. So when you can't see people at the bar, you kind of lose a little bit of that allure that, like people sit at the bar, you talk to your neighbor, you talk to the bartender. A good bartender can get two people to talk together that might have a mutual interest. So we kind of lost that. So now we're finally getting back into that and treading those waters a little bit at a time. It's great. I mean, to be able to sit people at that bar again is, man.
But you talk about retraining the mindset, and I mean, I don't know. I'm a little timid as it is, too. I don't know that I'd say, well, can we do – I see them sitting at the bar. Where can I sit? Can I sit there? Can I ask there? Do you have to call ahead of time for a reservation? What are those little nuances that the guest needs to be retrained by your staff?
Sure. Well, it's going to be different to each restaurant, right? I mean, so some restaurants you might be able to find a reservation, but because of our limited capacity and limited amount of tables – we've kind of called. You can't say, "Hey, I want to make a reservation, but I want to sit outside." Those are such high priority tables. Same thing within the bar. Same thing at the bar. We don't. We try to honor that request at the end of the day, but at the same time, I can't sit there, only at half capacity, hold a table for 2 hours like I used to be able to. That's a full turn that I could potentially be missing out on revenue.
Sure.
So I don't want to overpromise and underproduce. So I set that, our team sets that precedent early in the reservation process. I'll put this in the notes. We'll be more than happy to accommodate the reservation if we have something available, but just know that may not be we may not be able to facilitate that request at the time.
Yeah. Just a short year ago, remember when you were just a restaurant operator?
That was great.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Those many moons ago doing that. Okay, so the gals from the CRA text, they said, of course, they're enjoying the view as they drive in. Take their time. So it's us for a little bit
great.
Here, and I appreciate that. So, okay, Dave Woodruff here with us. We're at El Moro. Colorado Restaurant Association, as we keep referring to them. I was going to wait a little bit, but I'll dig in a little bit. Your capacity with the CRA.
So I've been our restaurants have been CRA members for a lot of years now. El Moro's been all 7 years that we've been going. I just wanted to find some like-minded people in the community, and so I just started going to the CRA meetings and then showed interest and then became vice president, a few years ago, more than a few years ago, but this will be year 5 that I've gone on to be president of the Durango chapter. So it's been good to see my evolution in the process. It's good to have those conversations. As you know, you drove 6 hours to get to Durango, so there's a bit of a disconnect between Durango and Denver.
Absolutely.
We don't even get Denver news. We have to hold our mouth right and put foil on our heads to be able to get Denver news. So so being able to have those conversations and to keep those relationships.
That was funny, by the way. I'm not trying to throw you out, but that was a good one.
It's
I want your jokes to keep coming, so I don't want to discourage you by not. That was a good one.
So being able to maintain some of those relationships with those folks that are in the know, that are having those conversations, and they're able to lobby for us and lobby for our collected interests on a state level. I can't drive to Denver, every weekend and say, we need to have outdoor seating. We need to make sure that, we have, 10 people, instead of 8 people, So it's great to have an organization that has our interests at heart and in mind, that are on the forefront, and then be able to, have worked on those relationships within city, county, and state government to be able to even have those conversations.
Yeah. Now, guidance is one thing, and they offer great guidance, and you're part of that as an ancillary arm here in Durango. But execution is another thing, and really taking that guidance and making it work for you. I believe that the CRA has done a great job of helping businesses adapt, and even, let's not talk about just sustaining or there are folks that are, but let's talk about how can we flourish. How can we thrive? And that, and as we've navigated through the past, handful of 6-8 months, there was a little bit of, well, should we feel guilty that we're doing a little bit better of a business, or that we are actually have adapted, or, our online business is, we're not neglecting that anymore? Or what are those things over the past 8 months with that guidance that you actually executed yourself?
Well, so kind of going back to the first part, having that guidance was a lifeline.
Right.
Earlier on in the pandemic, I would get that information, I would disseminate it to my restaurant email list, and so I guess the premise is that I want to make sure, and they want to make sure that you're getting the right information, and whatever you do with that information is up to you. You know, you need to have all the information available that is current and on time and accurate. So you can do what's best for your business. You can do what's best for your family. You can do what's best for you and your employees. So I think that was the first part of it is, you know, and as we know early on, man, that it was changing by the hour. If not by the day.
I said it constantly. The only thing that's certain is uncertainty.
Totally.
And everything was so fluid, and still is.
It still is.
I mean, today's truth could be tomorrow's whatever.
Yeah.
Truth changes, the perceptions change, and everything so daily. Continue.
Yeah. So having that information, you know, at our fingertips, you know, helped us. And like you said, you know, thrive. You know, as a restaurant entity, you know, Peak Food and Beverage. That's, you know, our umbrella organization for Birds, Teamworks, and El Moro. You know, we were trying to think early on.
Quality stuff, you guys. Thank you, Peak.
So one thing that we were trying to figure out is, you know, how do we ensure that we are giving, you know, everybody an opportunity to not only survive but thrive, and how do we even convey to the community, like, we're not just surviving but we're thriving, like we're doing our best, you know, we're, you know, like you said, that pivoted, being that adjustment. How do you show that? You know, El Moro being more of a, you know, casual fine dining establishment, we're not known for our takeout.
Yeah.
So how do you flip the script on that a little bit to make sure that you're taking a bit of El Moro home? Because when you come to El Moro, you're coming for the experience. You're coming to sit at the bar and shoot the breeze with the bartender. You know, so how do you take a little bit of that home back with you? So we do it through the cocktail program. You know, Lucas, you know, when he was here, he did a great job with, you know, we did Tiki Weekies. You know, we do Tiki Week every June, and when we're around. So instead of doing it Tiki Week, we did Tiki Weekies. We did it for the whole month of June. So we did, you know, everything was Tiki themed. We did like little Capri Sun pouches of cocktails to go with, you know, the umbrellas and everything else. We did pasta kits, and like I said, you know, we tried to, you know, really revisit, you know, who we are and how do we translate that experience back to the guests.
So as you're pruning the tree and just really bringing things back in, if you don't have a healthy trunk, I mean, this branch can't flourish. So how do you prune the tree back down to our basic core, I guess you would say, and then actually try and, you know, it's one thing to have that guidance, right? That beacon of light, and your ship can go away from that light. It's your choice. It's your ship. You can do whatever you want to. But when you embrace that light and you look, now your job is to take the local bureaucrats and politicians and say to them, hey, look, we need to move on this.
Totally.
This is the guidance. This is what's in front of us. Now, how can we actually mobilize today to make a difference today? Red tape is a very difficult thing.
It is. And I will say that.
Can I pause on that?
Yeah,
we'll
please.
come back and we'll talk red tape. Okay. Jay, I'm sorry. I probably caught you off guard on a break there, but I'll tell you, again, our fall dinner series, we really want you to join us for dinner. And it's next week. It's just next Monday, but their tickets are going quick. And if you missed out on our summer dinner series, it was sold out every single Tuesday night, 8 weeks in a row. And somebody who went to the summer dinner series every single week said, if there wasn't the summer dinner series, my summer would have sucked. I just wouldn't have gone. There's no sports going on. We're doing it right. And we're not only showing Denver, but Colorado, the nation, the world, how to do dining right. And hopefully making you feel comfortable to go out to find establishments like this and get back into it. Because truly, if you want to talk about safety and health precautions and everything, restaurants have been doing it since before COVID, I'll tell you that much. But Fall Dinner Series, you join us, falldinnerseries.com.
Falldinnerseries.com.
Don't let your fall suck. You can get in on that. You can join us.
If you say it faster, though.
Don't let your fall suck.
Yeah, it just sounds so much worse if you say it fast. I don't know why.
Jay, where are we, man? Take us to break, would you?
Oh, yeah, we are at, hold on, my hands are, I need two hands usually. We're
historic.
at El Moro Spirits and Tavern in Durango, Colorado. And we're going to take a break. When we come back, Dave, if you're still sitting there, I'm going to blow your mind. Do you enjoy bread?
I've been enjoyed a carb or two in my day.
Have you enjoyed a carb? I'm just gonna rattle your cage when we get back. This is the Modern Eater Show,
and we'll resume, Jay, with that question that I asked: how do you get through the red tape? And being the local president of this CRA chapter, really that responsibility laid on you with this community to be able to mobilize these folks with what the new revisions could be. As we'll look around the corner, we'll come back. The Modern Eater Show continues.
Hi guys, it's Rebecca Berry with Hot Schedules powered by Ford. With all of the recent COVID rules and regulations, you may feel like you have way too many cooks in the kitchen. Well, fortunately, Ford is the leading hospitality provider and partner when it comes to onboarding HR, payroll, tax, and compliance needs. So that way you can keep all of those cooks in the kitchen and let us manage all of your administrative needs. That way you can focus back on your business and your growth plans. Give me a call for an analysis on how we can put that ROI back into your business and take those administrative burdens off your hands. Because nobody likes handling taxes. That's Rebecca.berry@forth.com, Rebecca.berry@forth.com. And hey, you know what's cool, guys? Keeping your mask on so that way we can keep our doors open.
Hey, Modern Eater fans. I'm Don Trobo with the Annex by Ardent Mills, and I just wanted to give you a heads up about some of the great things we've got going on locally in the state. We're headquartered right here, and we're working with farmers in the San Luis Valley to bring you amazing Colorado quinoa. It's just like the South American stuff, but grown locally. We've got transitional wheat flour that's grown by farmers in Colorado and surrounding states who are in the process of turning their fields into organic. So we're taking that transitional wheat and turning it into flour, and now it's available for you to cook and bake with. And last but not least, we're now cleaning grain berries in Denver. So things like spelt or wheat berries or pearl barley, those are things that we're now doing right here locally and are available to you. Can't wait to share it with you.
Hey, Colorado restaurant and food service operators. This is Rich O'Brien along with Pearson Shields over here at Elevation Food Service Reps. And we wanted to let you guys know that at the end of the month, on the 23rd and 24th, here at our global headquarters in Park Hill, Colorado, Denver, Colorado, we're going to be having our demo sale where you can buy great products gently used for an excellent price. And we want to invite you over, and you know, chefs, I know you all know Pearson, and he can vouch that these are pretty good products. Going to be a good price.
No, absolutely. We used them, gently used them, and we're super excited. We're doing some good food as well.
Well, by you.
Some chicken.
Yeah.
I'll be cooking.
Yeah, we got Pearson cooking, and hey guys,
Excited.
come over this way too. And don't mind the young woman right there. She's just kind of hanging out and hiding. But we have all this equipment here that we're going to be doing our best to sell and get out of here. So any questions, give us a call over here at Elevation, 303-750-3727, or at elevationfs.com. And if you have any questions about the equipment, just give Pearson a holler. Thanks, guys.
Hey there, Barbecue All-Star. This is your year, so what if you weren't drafted? The only draft you need to be worried about is actually spelled D-R-A-U-G-H-T, and it's adult for the word beer. It's barbecue season, baby. Now get out there and grill your ass off.
Back to the show in just a minute, but before we do that, I want to talk to you about my most favorite thing on planet Earth, and Greg, you know what that is. It's bread, specifically Aspen Baking Company. Go to aspenbaking.com.
What's her name?
Aspen Baking Company.
Oh, bread. I thought.
Yeah, bread. Gluten, butter, sugar, carbs. In other words, heaven.
Sourdough's got to be it.
Sourdough.
What's your favorite bread? Sourdough's right up there at the
that's
top,
sourdough.
man.
Gotta
You know
be
what
good.
I just had the other day?
What?
English muffin bread. You ever heard of that?
No, you didn't.
I
English
swear to
muffin
God.
bread.
English muffin bread.
Isn't that an oxymoron? Because aren't English muffins bread? English muffin bread.
But the shape is different.
Well, I mean, I bet you Aspen Baking could make you some English
I bet you
muffin
they
bread.
probably could.
I don't know if they have it or not, honestly, but
it's good. I like simple ingredients. So if you read ingredients on something, if you can't pronounce, you know, and every ingredient you should be able to pronounce, but don't you want the good stuff up front?
You do.
Like to begin with.
You do.
I don't know, Jay. What do you think?
Well, yeah.
Simple ingredients?
Yeah, aspenbaking.com.
Do it again.
Panderia del Aspen Baking Company.
Could you do this commercial in Spanish for our Spanish friends?
I'd have to practice that.
Really?
Yeah, just
half
because,
and half.
You know,
You speak Spanish? You do?
Poquito.
A little bit. Sí. Okay. Sorry, Jay.
No.
Hate to interrupt you.
La cosa en el mundo que está el más favorito del güero más chingón del mundo es pan. Puedo decir pan, puedo oler pan. Puedo comer pan. Si tienes hambre, come pan. Y si quieres comer pan, el pan más fino del mundo, de la ciudad, vete a aspenbaking.com. Ahorita ya regresamos a la programa.
Back to the show. Right. Understood.
That's pretty good.
That was really good.
Hey.
Jay, did you mention box lunches?
No, man, I got thrown off by the whole thing. But anyway, Aspen Baking Company, AspenBaking.com.
Do you know what a batard is?
They do box lunches.
Do you know what a batard is?
I do.
Yeah. It's
Box
basically
lunches.
just a baguette. Round.
Right.
Here's the other thing, too. Amazon Fresh.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
They're on Amazon Fresh. You can order direct. You can order online.
Just
if you know
order.
a chef or a restaurant owner or a restaurateur that just doesn't have the capabilities of baking their own bread, don't settle for frozen bread. Don't settle for all that other stuff. Go to aspenbaking.com. All jokes aside, since 1994, making the best bread in the world.
Do you know most bread in grocery stores was frozen at one point?
I did not know that.
Yeah, even if they say it's fresh.
Even if
it was frozen.
Feels fresh.
Yeah. Bread something. Do you make bread at home? Jason Lum here.
We have.
You have?
Well, my wife has.
Yeah.
I don't.
The collective we.
As the Lums.
Yeah, as the Lums. We make some bread.
Yes.
I don't know, Jay. And first of all, thank you, Jay Lum, one of my greatest friends of all time, just throughout the years. That's how you know. Years go by, a year or two or so, and then you.
I didn't see you for like 10 years, and then boom,
picked right
popped up.
I know. I lived in California for a little.
I came to
stretch.
see you.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. You and Tony B.
Tony B. We lived in California. The Durango community. You landed somewhere special.
I did. Yep.
Where else in Colorado do you really like?
Well, I also lived in Telluride. And
Telluride.
One of the most beautiful places on the planet.
Unbelievable.
This whole area, Telluride, Silverton. Silverton holds a very special place in my heart.
Yes, it does. Silverton Powder Cats.
That's where I work in the wintertime.
Doing what?
I'm a backcountry guide.
Do people do that?
People
Aren't
do
you my
that.
age?
Like a real job. It's fantastic.
People do that.
Aren't you my age?
I am.
I hurt when I wake up in the morning.
Well,
you don't.
You should stretch. Oh no, I do.
Stretch. You should stretch a little bit. Yes, you're right. But what's a day in your life when you're coming into working up there as a back?
Oh, you wake up early. You hope it snowed the night before.
Yeah.
You drive up the pass. And
are you just excited to go do it?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my dream job.
Yeah.
So I've.
Do you get paid?
Oh, paid in powder. Yeah. No, we get paid.
You gotta be careful with
that. Ripping fat lines.
Yeah. Yes. No, it's amazing. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better job, and I wish it lasted longer. But yeah, looking forward to the winter.
Yeah, I used to come visit back in the day. Bubba's Boards up there.
Oh, yeah. The chalet.
The chalet. That thing still exists.
Oh, yeah.
It does. The
of
parties
course.
that were there.
Yes.
Unbelievable. Some
yes.
great times there. Okay, we're catching up. El Moro, Dave Woodruff, he's hosting us tonight. I'm just having a great time talking community and local. CRA, local president here in Durango. We're talking about, okay, you can get all the guidance in the world, but if you can't mobilize, if you can't get the word out there, if you can't get actual people to cut down that red tape so that you can have these variances for your patio, and you're going to need some more stuff here in the winter. We'll talk about wintertime and looking around corners. But being able to do that, and you said that locally that you've really been impressed by how that's been handled. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been nice to have that partnership with not only the Chamber of Commerce, the Business Improvement District, but also with the city and the county. You know, they're reliant on that sales tax revenue generation, and they also understand the importance of keeping people employed. For as much as possible. So it's been really good to be a part of those stakeholder conversations, and I've been fortunate enough to sit on the La Plata County Economic Recovery Task Force, and so I serve as the restaurant liaison to that group. And so I mean, we got people from Region 9, from the city, from the county, the Chamber of Commerce is from Ignacio to Durango to Vallecito. So there's a lot of people. I mean, and then yes, the health department represented there as well. So there's a lot of people within those conversations, and it's great because a lot of those people are either the heads of a nonprofit or the heads of some organization, and I wouldn't say there's no, but there's not a decent representation of restaurants or how to run and operate a restaurant in that organization. So it's good to have those conversations and to give that feedback of like, you know, what can work, what doesn't work, and being armed with the knowledge that the CRA helps out with, and also the NRA, you know, not that NRA, but the National Restaurant Association. Yeah. But having some of those pieces of knowledge to be able to tell them like, hey, this is what Denver's doing. You know, when Denver came up with their bump out and the outside seating, they made it a one-page form. It was like 5 questions, and they made it as streamlined as possible. So that gave me ammo to give the city, like, this is what Denver did. You know, how can we emulate this to make it as easy as possible, to make it as successful as possible, to make sure that we have, you know, all these restaurants the opportunity to succeed for as long as possible.
One thing that the CRA did, I thought was just very gracious, very nice of them to do, was they opened up their newsletter to any non-members alike. You'd go ahead and you could get on their mailing list, and they were sending out stuff, still do, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night.
Totally.
Just very informative, timely information. Great to have. And as your work, is your chapter pretty active here in Durango? Because I'd like to make that call out.
Sure. I mean, I think the people that are a part of the Restaurant Association, I mean, yeah, we hold the Taste of Durango every year. I mean, I'm sure Jason can speak to the success of that event. I mean, we have anywhere from 8,000 to 10,000 people that converge on downtown.
Is it truly the Taste of Durango, though?
Absolutely.
It is.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
great.
Oh, for sure.
Because when I hear like the Taste of Colorado, and God bless downtown Denver, Taste of Colorado, I'm thinking about the big old turkey legs and strollers.
It's a Renaissance fair.
It's a Renaissance fair. So
no, I think that's
sorry, Denver. I love you, Denver. Taste of Colorado. Revamp that.
So I think that's one thing that we execute really well, and from the side of, you know, putting on the event, our restaurants come to play. I mean, we'll serve, you know, 1,500 portions, and a little bite size. It's supposed to be a taste. It's not supposed to be a meal of Durango. It's a taste of Durango. Yeah. So everybody gets to kind of showcase what's coming up for their summer menu, or what do they do really well.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of fun. It's the kind of the unofficial kickoff for the summer of Durango.
Oh man.
And it's literally, I mean, we close down Maine from all the way from 12th to College.
Yeah.
And we have entertainment. The last couple years, and Jason might be able to speak to in terms of like what it is to be a participant in that. But instead of doing just one big band and one big stage, we have 4 different stages at each block. And so each block, one might be, you know, house techno music, one might be bluegrass, one might be rock.
How many days of
just 1 day?
1 day.
1 day.
So 6 months of planning for a 1-day event.
Well, shouldn't you have a couple of days?
But there's so many things that logistically go into this, and you know, Denver, you know, and I may not know what I'm talking about, but Denver, I think, has some ancillary streets that you can have that event on. Like this is downtown Main Avenue, Durango. There's only one.
Yeah.
You know, so having that thing shut down for more than 1 day, and you know, we got to, you know, have a bigger, you know, police presence downtown.
Sure.
You know, we've got to have. There's so many moving parts to this.
It's a lot to pull off.
It is. Like I'm truly being honest when I say 6 months of work for a 4-hour event.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, there's 2 big events in Durango. That's one of them, and Snowdown. I mean, so you got one big summer event and one big winter event, and that is where everybody comes out. I mean, you know, I show up at 10:30, 11 o'clock, so you can actually get to taste a bunch of stuff.
Wow.
Because so many people come now that if you don't show up early, you're out of luck. You know, you're
waiting in line for
you're waiting
a
in
half
line.
hour.
Yeah, and that is great that there's more music venues up and down the street to kind of spread people out.
Totally.
And it's a great event.
Is that in concert with like the local BID and the Chamber of Commerce?
Totally, yeah. So Business Improvement District, we work in tandem with Tim over there, and so yeah, it's we're fortunate enough, you know, as you know, when you're pulling a liquor license with the state or with the city, you know, there's a whole formative process that you have to go through with that. So we were fortunate enough with ours. It's a legacy event with the city, so we no longer have to knock on doors to say, hey, do you approve this alcohol permit for Sunday, May 17th?
Get her done.
We get her done. Yeah, we don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's one of those that they helped us, and once again, the city's worked with us and worked in concert with us to help streamline that process to make it successful.
So when you get, and I'm just trying to figure out how this works in my own head for my own edification, but when you get some guidance from the mothership in Denver and it comes down to you, what's your methods at that? What do you have to do at that point?
I mean, so because things, early on in the pandemic, I sent out an email 6 days a week, just like because things were changing so rapidly and things were so fluid that, like you said, something that's true today could be erroneous tomorrow.
Yeah.
So trying to keep people up to date so they can make the best decisions that they can at the time. And so, I pulled my information from multiple sources. It's from the CRA, the NRA, the Chamber of Commerce, the Business Improvement District. From
Dude, you're a madman.
Well,
and you kept yourself positive throughout that whole time
I think you have to. Because we were all in a dark place, so somebody had to be the torchbearer to show the light, and I'm not trying to say that I did that.
Yeah, but you did.
Well, I just wanted to make sure, I don't succeed. I don't do better if I have half the restaurants in Durango fall off.
To Dave Thibodeau's point.
Exactly. It's a community. And to me, I really think that restaurants are the fabric of our Durango community.
And they are.
It's where people go. They celebrate.
Fabric of all communities, really, and Durango just happens to have a great one. But you're right. Birthdays, anniversaries, Dave. Any celebrations. First date. Do you remember your first date?
Oh, I sure do. Not here.
We weren't around then.
With my wife, yes.
Yeah. With your wife, yes. But true, even bad times, comfort from restaurants, totally. Comfort from bars. It's interesting navigating. So, looking around corners is the tough stuff right now because again, everything's optics. Here it is. The optics are there. I feel comfortable as a guest. Does that mean that COVID's gone? Is the unknown imminence that the walls are closing in? It's probably the small thing, touching some little thing or forgetting to wash your hands for a second. But cleanliness is paramount, right?
Of course.
Doing the things right, the distancing. But experience. How do you create an experience? How do you get people to come back? And how do I look around corners? Because seating is... You got to have the seating, right? You can't feed people, and and the space. So you got a luxurious outside variance going on here. You're in the street, and it doesn't feel like you're in the street. You got some bamboo around the outside, and everybody's doing it's like Pimp My Patio type of thing. I actually want to do something like that. Go around and see.
That's the next HGTV. Pimp My
see what
Patio.
People are doing. Go out and pimp the patio. But talk. Jay's showing a camera on. But talk about your patio for a minute here. And
so that was something that we worked in concert with the bid, and Tim. When he got the idea, he really ran with it and did a really good job with getting with the city, getting timely information back, and really getting this program in almost a matter of 30 days. The speed of government, that things like that never happen at that speed. But the pandemic kind of forced everybody's hand a little bit, and we had to kind of work in concert and work a little bit faster. So it was really nice to be able to have that. I keep that thing full. I obviously know the transmission level is going to be a little bit lower when it's outside. So that thing stays full from, when we open the doors at 11 a.m., we do brunch on the weekends, so at 9 a.m., and we'll keep that thing full when the city says we have to be done at 10 p.m. So having that has been, we get back that thrive versus survive, and that was the reason that we thrived in a pandemic, is because we had those 4 changes.
Now, that's a real interesting dichotomy because it's a very happy thought, but it also is very sad, too, especially as we know Colorado weather changes.
Sure.
That's shaking your moneymaker out there, man.
It totally is.
That's what you got. You're showing off your goodies, and as well you should. But now, let's face it, colder months ahead. You got to start figuring some things out, or do you? We were in a place in Telluride. It was I don't want to murder the name of the place. It's the Baker and the Butcher, I think. Where were we, Jay?
The butcher and the baker.
The butcher and the baker. And here's a conundrum: is a lot of operators are saying to themselves, do I want to continue knowing that my capacity will be limited with any kind of service at all? Because all of the things, labor, I mean, you can go down the line of what it takes to do service, right? Of
course.
So how do you shut it down? Now, the answer for you is you're not going to shut down service. You're obviously going to continue. But you got to start thinking, oh, my goodness, what your thoughts?
We just got to stay on our toes, whereas as we get the data, we're going to have to be amenable to change. And I think that's been the whole thing that we have learned through this whole thing is resiliency. How do you adapt with the information that you're given and try to put your best foot forward? And yeah, that's going to be a pretty big loss to not have those 4 tables out there. But, kind of getting into back that community piece, like, well, if you want to be, see the change, you have to be the proactive person to make that change. So we're working with the city. I don't know if you saw out there, there's these little bistro tables out there that we have fenced off. So that was our original licensed liquor license footprint. So we could have it was seasonal dining where we could have a bistro area out there, and we had 3 tables out there. So now that the city, I realize that, they're taking away kind of a big deal for us to not be able to have that bump out space. Now we're hoping that we can have maybe that bistro space to be able to, at the very least, have heaters out there, put people, if we're on a wait, we're only at 50% capacity, we only got 11 tables inside. If we have to go on a wait, we can, I'm in the hospitality business. I'm not putting people out in the cold business. I want to make sure that people are comfortable, and I don't want to lose a potential table if I send them out in the cold and they're like, well, I'm too cold to wait, I'm going to go down the road. So if there's potential, maybe we could use that space to put a couple heaters. They can enjoy a cocktail or two while they're waiting for the table, and hopefully we can turn the table fast enough and get them back in here.
Dave Woodruff, El Moro. I did 2 weeks ago. I went to Southwest Florida and first time on an airplane experience, and here I am, nuts to butts with 200 of my closest friends. That's right, Jay. I feel great. I feel just fine. You're fine too. You're a healthy young man. You're up on a mountain.
He's a farmer.
That's right.
He's breathing in that dirt all day.
You see the I don't know how do you even call it? I guess affording these huge corporate conglomerates the bizarre, insane way to just cram people in. And what they said was, well, I don't know if this is true or not, I keep saying this, that every 3 minutes in the cabin of their airplane, right, that the air is recirculated 97%. If they can do that and pull that off, fine. If that's BS, I liked hearing it. It sounded good. But inside filtration, who picks up the cost? Is it a landlord thing? Should the tenant do it? We're working under. It's like the game's changed right now for the unforeseeable future, but the costs haven't. You're probably spending. I mean, how much are rubber gloves these days?
I think it's 11 cents a rattle now. Because for a while we weren't sure if we even get gloves. We had to eventually go to the lunch lady gloves because we couldn't even get the rubber gloves. It was like those those floppy things that you put on. They're awful.
So the cost keeps stacking up.
And the cost. You think of everything. You think of single-use menus, like our paper costs, our printing costs. Our jet ink cartridges are $150 a rattle. So now all of a sudden you're buying those twice as often as you were. These incremental costs. We had to buy a thermometer. We're taking labor to take people's temperature when they come into work. There's all these ancillary costs that are kind of getting thrown into the cost of doing business now. You know, and as we when you think about price elasticity, I can't charge $20 for a hamburger. That's not.
You can.
I can, but not just we'll to pay for it.
Let's see where the water finds its own level.
Yeah.
Who knows where it could go? And theoretically, maybe you couldn't. Some people are doing a COVID
surcharge.
Yeah. Which you see how that's gone over in a lot of areas. But when you start adding on to your menu, though, that's indelible. That's sticking around.
Sure.
I mean, people don't raise the cost of a hamburger and then peel it back during better times and stuff.
And I think that's what you have to be. You have to be cognizant of where you can make those price increases. One thing that
I don't think we pay enough for our good food. I really don't. I mean, operating a restaurant and a business with good food, doing it the right way to where I don't know, you probably have 25 different food vendors and, at least, right? When you do it the right way and you don't cut corners and, your margins are...
The national average is 3 to 6% to the bottom line.
Yeah, you're crazy to be in this business. You hate money. You hate money.
I heard a wise man say, you know how you become a millionaire in the restaurant business?
Yeah.
You start with 2.
That's right. And so true. Yeah. So that's what we're up against. And truly, because of your background of being in this hospitality, as we come full circle, that service industry, that feel the need to provide that hospitality, to give that experience. It's in your DNA, man. Sorry.
It's an embodiment. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's totally there. You've got the right job. You totally do. They're lucky to have you in Durango, and the CRA's lucky to have you as well. What's next?
Oh, man.
Just keep riding that ship.
I'm just trying to get everybody through the pandemic as best as possible, make sure that, we have as many restaurants survive, and then let's come out next spring, back to fight weight and be ready to get back. Yeah.
Okay, and great segue because, and I don't want to, but I just overheard a conversation before the show, and I think a very big component right now moving forward is work-life balance and being able to mitigate some of this really, really difficult terms that you're navigating with your own life. And you've got to be healthy as well. And you've been taking strides with yourself, to create that healthiness, to be able to transcend into others and into other aspects of your life. That's important.
Absolutely agree. Self-care, is hugely important right now. You can't look at it as being selfish of, sometimes you need to take a mental day, and I totally understand. And we're fortunate enough, and I don't know if you saw this, but we've got a nonprofit called In the Weeds here in Durango. My buddy Blaine started that up, just before the pandemic. But it's a hospitality trade nonprofit that, it's all about the mental health. It's about how you take care of yourself. It's we have groups where we can go talk about, just vent about, God, I was on the line for 12 hours today and it sucked, and this is why it sucked. And so having some of those organizations at your disposal to be able to find some of those outlets, to find and learn how to take care of yourself. Because as you guys have probably known, working in the restaurant industry, it's not an industry known for people that take good care of themselves.
Truly not.
It's people that, there's a...
Constantly giving and neglecting themselves. And let's face it, you're around a lot of food and booze.
Yep.
And
exactly right.
A lot of late nights.
A lot of pirates.
Not much structure to a lot of things, If you've ever... Jade's done 1 million clopins, haven't you, Jay?
Oh man! So Dave, I'm going to turn 44 in a matter of minutes, basically. And,
but if you need somebody strangled or kicked out of your bar, Jay will do it, and likes to do it.
And I don't know what I mainly it's just my personality, I guess. And Greg doesn't believe it, but I'm a terrific bartender. I really am. Server. Forget about it. A 4-top, I'm in the weeds with 1 4-top. And I don't know what it is. Bartender, I could have 18, 20 people at the bar, run around, make everybody laugh, tell a story, maybe get a phone number or 2, have a good night, go home, eat a lukewarm cheeseburger, wake up at 4 p.m. the next day and do it all over again. I'm the best at that. Serving, a totally different thing. What was the question?
Nothing. Right. You just go.
No, that's enough. But I would love to tell you guys some story. He said I'm the choking guy. I am the choking guy. To where it's like I don't want to be that guy, and heaven forbid, and I just want to go on record and say I've never worked for Dave in any capacity in any restaurant in the world.
Full disclosure.
But it's like it's a very difficult job, and I said this on the last show. It's an extremely difficult job to be a bartender or a server in today's world without COVID. You add COVID to it, and it's on steroids as far as just that unruly guest, right? Air quotes, whatever it is, because they're the same people. They have a problem with something, but you just add one more thing into doing, something to give them a bullet to put in their gun to say, hey, listen, I'm going to attack you for this. And in a lot of cases, it's, can I get another, beer? And it's like, nah, you've had too much. It's like, okay, well, now I want to trash your bar or choke you or stab you or something. And now you have the mask, right? And now it's like, hey, can you put your mask on?
That's a perfect segue, Jay, because we owner-operators, and they talk about their staff, and sometimes, unfortunately, we interview folks that their servers or bartender has to police somebody that won't know before you go, wear your damn mask, be respectful. Don't let these poor people, have to.
We've been called every name in the book. I mean, it's just, we've been physically accosted. I mean, it's unfortunate this is the state of affairs that we're in, but, it's kind of.
We did our show from Gold Pants Saloon in Breckenridge.
Yep.
Breckenridge?
Yeah.
And one of their bartenders, 60-year-old dude in his 60s, apparently the nicest guy in the world. I don't know him, but something as simple as...
An MMA fighter came in, had a few libations, refused to wear his mask, which is very polite. The guy smashed this poor old man's head into a bar and broke his jaw and teeth out. And you're seeing a lot of this happen when it's like, listen, don't shoot the messenger. We're just trying to do business here. We want to stay open. You guys, when you go out and you go to restaurants, you have to lead by an example. This is really now to where it's like a driver license. They say, this isn't a, what do they say? This is a privilege. This is not a right. It's not a right to come into somebody's establishment and do whatever you want, It's like you have your shirt off or your Jay. I know
the whole. This is my right, and it's, in my opinion, those are people they're trying to turn it into politics. When it's like, listen, man, for the restaurant owner and the staff, it's not politics to them. It's just like, this is what we have to do to stay open, to pay our bills and feed our families. And that.
And give
right?
these folks
it's like,
a break.
That's the worst part, is that, like, you'd almost give somebody a pass for being slightly rude, maybe, not caving in somebody's head. That's a totally different game. But it's like, the people that are resisting and doing this, they know that it's not Dave's decision. He's not just some lunatic that goes, you have to wear one red shoe and one white shoe to come into my restaurant.
And the minute that the regulations loosen, Dave will be the first one to say, let's take our masks off.
Yeah, we'll have a whole ceremony. It's going to be great.
And I know I mentioned this is like, and as an operator, you'll cringe too, but hazard pay. These folks need hazard pay. It's like late night. If you're working in a theater on the rafters and you're working lights or so, you get a hazard pay. And I'm not really suggesting that, although I really appreciate the fine work that our service community does, because who else has to be forced because of your job to interact with other folks that don't have masks on?
It's like school teachers,
where it's like one-way transaction.
They deserve to be paid 10 times what they're paid, right? But that's just not the world we live in. And it's the same thing
not
for
my
Dave,
teachers,
to
man.
where it's like his margins, even though his bartenders
East.
and servers deserve hazard pay, it's just not in the budget.
That's right.
I'm sure he'd like to pay everybody 3 times, and money's everywhere for everybody, but that's not it.
Okay, so, the gals from the CRA aren't here, but I do know a couple of points that they would like to probably ask you.
Sure.
Jay, I want you to jump in as well, because there's a series of the reason why they wanted to go with the Modern Eater is not only just to go connect with the chapters like you. I mean, I probably haven't seen you in a little while because of that, and it'll be good to see them as well. But to get they're doing a campaign to go and get some. It's very important that people go do business with their restaurants, whether it's in person or curbside or what have you. But safety, community, and support. We'll go through just those 3 one by one, and then I think we all want to eat, and I'm sure you want to run around and check on your guests. The safety portion of it. There's some folks that really, and they're compromised, their immune system, or they're elderly, or just you watch the nightly news, you don't want to go anywhere. You just want to hang out in your house, and you just starve and eat a Tostitos or whatever. Safety. Renownedly, restaurants are very, very safe anyways. But what would your message be as you just look to the camera and you talk about safety and like, this is how we're doing things right. This is what we're doing. Please support.
To Greg's point earlier, we've been in the safety business. We're in the hospitality business, but ultimately we're in the safety business. When it's all said and done, we've been doing this for a long time. Every restaurant, everybody has safe, hygienic practices. We've all got the inspections. We've all got the chops to prove it. And so this isn't our first rodeo, So now that we've had all of these things that we've had to do, we've embraced it, because we've been doing this for all along. And so this is, maybe a little bit more. We have to maybe do it a little bit higher frequency than what we're accustomed to. But everybody here is a champion for safety, whether it be workplace, COVID, or food. Everybody here is all about community and hospitality. Hospitality is that embodiment of taking care of each other, and safety is just as big of a piece of that as anything. So for us, I mean, it is about optics, but it's also about what you don't see. We clean the bathrooms once an hour. We wash all the handles. Even when you're not looking, these things are still happening. So just as much as it is optics, it's just as much as behind the scenes. I mean, I don't want to show you my hands because they're all cracked and almost bleeding because how often we wash our hands now. Every time we touch a table or touch a plate to go take it back to the back, you're immediately washing your hands. In between multi-touch items, you're washing your hands. So we've been doing this all along. We just got to take it up to a different state than what we were previously. But ultimately, this is what we do. This is hospitality.
Wow, that was truly incredible.
Speaking of hospitality,
are you needed?
Yeah.
Because yes.
Yeah.
It's like the Great American Beer Festival.
Yeah. Oh, God.
That's
a whole nother thing.
Man, nothing's worse than that. And I don't know what happened, but if you're a server bartender and you drop
all eyes
on
you, I know.
Man.
It is bad. Support. Okay, so we talk about community and your job, but you need help too, and you need help from the community and support. You also need help from the local bureaucrats, politicians, government to work in tandem to just really make this the best that it can possibly be. What kind of support are you needing, Mr. Operator, restaurant, to be able to continue on? Because I'll tell you what, if this history, 1906, and it stops at 2020, that's a tragedy. Got to keep it going. Support for you.
Support for me is just keeping the conversation open. We can't just put our head in the sand, or we can't just think that this is what we're going to do, and this is where the conversation is. It has to be an evolving dialogue, and it can't just be a monologue. So having that open-ended conversation and everybody being receptive to those conversations and being able to act upon those, I think that's probably a big one, a big component of it. And I think another big component for support is collectively, restaurant operators, we need champions. We need people that are going to be advocating on our behalf in every facet, whether it be on the statewide level, lobbying to the Senate and the representatives and to the governor, to everybody that's just like, wear the mask. When somebody, is out and about, I don't care if you agree with it, wearing a mask or not, come in and wear a mask. And then if you see somebody else or one of your friends is being that guy, police them, support us, so we don't have to be that mechanism of enforcement. Help us to be, to carry that message. So support doesn't necessarily have to be something that's, monetary or, bureaucratic. It can be just day-to-day, everyday conversations, everyday interactions, to be champions for all of us, not just for restaurants, not just for retail, but all of us collectively as a whole. Like, how do we make sure that we're just not being assholes? We're just being nice, So
right. And I'll just dovetail off that a little bit, but here's what you can do. You're constantly scrolling your feed. You go to your local favorite restaurant. Make sure you like them. Make sure you turn your notifications on. Make sure that when they send a message out, that you take them up on an offer, that you really mobilize. And beyond that, click that share button. Share what they're doing. If you see somebody doing something great and you see them doing it right, let somebody know about it. Sign up for a newsletter. Do some takeout. Make sure that, your family once a week, know where you're spending your money. Put it in your budget. Good food. I find it a lot of times I like to cook a good meal, Jay, and you go out and get a bunch of ingredients, and it's like, how did I had 2 tacos tonight, great ingredients, somebody else. This cost me $70 in ingredients because now I have this left over. And
all the guacamole. I made way too much guacamole.
And it's like I didn't need a full onion, right? A half onion here. And obviously you can go back and utilize some stuff. The point being is that when you go to a great restaurant, they have all those delicious ingredients there. And a lot of times you can get a meal kit, and it's what you need. Then it's more cost effective.
Well, and I'm sure we've all been cooking quite a bit at home.
Yeah,
over
absolutely.
the past 6
take
months.
A break.
Take a break.
I was going to ask you,
enjoy
Jay,
yourself.
I was going to ask you, Jay. You're very health conscious. You're very family oriented. You want to protect your family just as much as the next person. Mm-hmm. You can go out to eat, and here you are with us tonight. Those things that Dave talked about, the safety, the community.
Yeah.
Those are all the reasons probably why you're here tonight.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. And, you have to take those things into account, where you go and what you do and where you spend your money. And, we have been very selective, but we still want to go out and support our local restaurants and businesses, feel that's important.
Too.
Yeah, and where you buy your ingredients, even when you cook at home. Yeah. You try to get the stuff that's grown locally and do that too. So on both ends, you support your restaurants and you support, whoever's growing the stuff locally too.
Yeah. And to your point, Dave, keep the dialogue open. Follow your gut. If you go in somewhere and you're like, this just doesn't seem right, I don't feel safe, I don't feel comfortable, afford the business owner that first dialogue. Don't go... You know what I'm talking about. Have that dialogue. Feel safe. And if you don't, double time back. Go somewhere else where you do. Because I'll probably just wrap it up here at this point, Jay, so commercial, so we'll end it there. I think we covered a lot of ground tonight. That last full circle community aspect. Community is everything. Without your community, you're just not going to survive. And so having your and it seems to me like you've done a great job having the community embrace you. If you don't, you go away quickly in the attrition. I think you said to me, out of 200 restaurant businesses that are in the local area, maybe 4 or 5, below 10, right? That's incredible numbers, and that's attributed directly to folks like you and your community, the information, what you've been doing. It's a great example for all of us in the state. Colorado Restaurant Association, you should be happy and proud of this chapter. Truly, it gives me the goosebumps. You're doing it right.
Well, like I said, nobody wins when we lose that many great operators and businesses and great people in our community. So it's the least I could do. I had all that information at my fingertips. The least I could do is convey that, so they can make the right decisions for them.
Okay, it's dinner time.
Ding, ding, ding.
Food real quick. Talk about the fair here.
Ooh-wee. So modern, rustic, new American. We celebrate the classics, but put our own takes on them. Our chef.
Give me an example.
So our chef, he's from Arkansas, and he knows comfort food really well.
Okay.
So one of my favorite things on the menu right now is the pork chop. Cooked about medium. It's got a jalapeno corn puree and some collard greens. Ooh wee!
That's it, huh?
So good.
Oh man, the mouth is watering.
And Korean fried cauliflower. We got a great, just very nuanced. Very
usually it's the burger. What's the best seller?
Oh God. I'd say our, in terms of like a large plate or like a sandwich.
Entree. Yeah.
I'd say, we do steak well. But I think, one thing that we've done really well lately is our hanger steak. We always do something different. Change up the plating, change up the sides. So it's hard to tell because sometimes we only have something on our menu for a few weeks and then it's on to the next. Trying to keep that culinary vibrancy alive and keeping that culinary creativity alive in the kitchen. So we're blessed to have our guys back there and gals that do not only a really good job creating, but do an even better job executing.
Yeah, shout outs to the chefs.
Yeah.
All of them, front of the house, back of the house. Jason, what are you craving?
Yeah,
what
I don't know. Well, I was just
man?
curious. Are you able to do specials?
Yeah, so we do specials primarily on the weekends.
On the weekends,
it kind of gives them an opportunity to kind of get through the week and all the normal stuff, get everything prepped up because we do brunch obviously. So that's a whole nother prep beast and service beast that we have to be cognizant of. So we kind of get through the week and we can start thinking about what are we inspired by this week and what can we put out there that we can sign our name off of and be like.
And is that also seasonal? I'm assuming what's available.
Yeah, sometimes it depends on what spurs the creativity. Like we just got a new ramen dish on the menu, and that came out last week. Holy smokes!
Just
You talking
in time
about
for
comfort?
fall.
I know
Well,
comfort food, super umami. Like they do like a beet pickled egg on there.
I think
so
I
the,
might have
the
to. What?
The color
Yeah,
take
that sounds
some
pretty
ramen.
good.
So
Right
good.
there.
Yeah, pork belly. I mean,
Yeah.
they've like I said, they execute really well on top of having great ideas.
Nice. That's fantastic. All right, we'll wrap it up. The gals from the CRA. Say hello to Denver. Say hello to Sonia Riggs.
Sonia, great to see you. Well,
she's probably watching.
Great for have you see me, I guess.
That's right. Aren't you glad you get to see me?
Yeah, right.
That's good.
It's great to be
stuff.
seen.
El Moro and Durango, Colorado. I'd say come visit. I mean, why not? Go up and down. You'll
Come
probably
to
tell
Durango.
people your favorite place. No, I'm not going to do that to you.
Hey man, you know what? Honestly, like if I was a normal person, right, it would be like take that drive we did, like go get to Telluride.
Oh my God!
However
right,
you want to
yeah.
get to Telluride, right? You know, and there's a lot of beautiful places in Telluride to mess around, food, the whole 9 yards, and then take that drive of 50 and something else into Durango.
174. What is it?
And it's actually, you know, I'm dead inside, Dave, right? So as we drive, Greg goes, look at that. I'm like, yeah, trees, you know, let's go. Well, you know, here we are. So for somebody that's normal and not dead inside, it would be magnificent, and it's a beautiful drive.
Well, you're
take your
seeing
loved one.
the leafers are out right now, so like to see the colors changing on the trees right now is like it's prime time.
It's colorful
It is
Colorado.
That's exactly. It's prime time. See, that's what I should start saying. To be like, now's a great time to see it, so I don't have to sound like, you know, a terrible person. When the truth is, I'm like big deal, you know. But that's what I'm going to start using.
It's
that
prime
day.
time, baby.
I'll be like, this is prime time for that kind of stuff. Get out there and see it.
You sound
There
good.
you go.
Again, join us for dinner next week as we kick off our fall dinner series, falldinnerseries.com. Check out the lineup. We want you to join us for that. What else do we have going on? Tomorrow will be day 4. We're heading into Lamar, Colorado, so we're going to head across the San Luis Valley, right below the San de Cristos, probably cut up through Pueblo into Lamar. We're going to go into some ranch land. We're going to visit our friends at Colorado Mills Sunflower Oil and check out some sunflower fields, and then head to Centennial Cuts and check out some cattle ranching. Yes?
Yeah, that's it. No, nothing.
Okay.
I'm just
No problem.
Just being attentive.
Okay, so Brian Freeman not here with us. So for Brian Freeman, Jay Parker, Dave, thank you so much.
Pleasure is absolutely mine. It's great having you here.
And Jason, I appreciate you. I'm Greg Hollenbach. We're kicking the rock on down the road. The Modern Eater Show will continue.
Hey guys, it's Brian Rizzuto with Encore Energy, the guy who saves your businesses money on natural gas. I know these are crazy, crazy times right now. So while your business is working on increasing your sales, let me work on saving you guys money on your natural gas. I make it as easy as possible. Just provide 12 months worth of natural gas bills to me. I'll do the rest. I know you're really busy, so let me get to work for you. You can reach me at 720-245-5771. I look forward to hearing from you guys, and let me try to save you some money in these crazy times. Bye.
Hi, Charlie from Brews Beers here, and I'd like to tell you about our brand new Abbey 4-pack, featuring the 4 main products of Abbey and Trappist breweries in Belgium. So there's the single, the double, the triple, and the quadruple. And let's talk about singles today. Singles or ankles are traditionally monks beers served at meal times and during the day. They're low in alcohol, 3 to 5.5%, and they're often second runnings from stronger beers like triples or quadruples. This one is 3.8% ABV, and it's made from the second runnings from our triple. So what they're known for is lightness and drinkability. They're biscuity flavor with distinct hoppiness, and they're very refreshing. Great summer beers, available at either Brews location, 67th and Pecos, or at Colfax in York, and at fine liquor stores throughout the metro area. Pick up your Abbey 4-pack today and take home some Belgian-style badassery.